Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make an absolute fortune in the stock market this week. Yes, I am putting the positive vibes out there in the market, guys. In this video, we're about to go through essentially everything that's going on over the next 5 days, okay? And what I'm going to tell you is we have a lot going on. I'm pretty optimistic on this whole situation, let's put it that way. I have millions of dollars riding into this week, and I'm feeling pretty confident. But with that being said, in this market where we've gotten absolutely decimated, you can't get too confident, but it's important to put the positive vibes into the universe, okay? Now, the Dow has gone down 6 straight weeks. You heard me right, 6 straight weeks, okay? Not only that, the stock market indexes have gotten destroyed the past 7 months, essentially. Russell and NASDAQ have gotten it the worst by far. The Dow and the S&P have also gotten hit. Both of those are in correction, but honestly, the Russell and the NASDAQ has been what's really gotten hurt. So yeah, let's go through this week. I want to show you what's going on. Some of the biggest companies that are the most important to me personally are reporting this week, okay? And so yeah, we got a lot to get into. Hope you guys enjoy this as always. If you want to check out FTX US, check out the first link in the description down there. Get up to $100 in free crypto when you use my link down there and use the referral code Holy Smokas. So it's pretty darn awesome when you place your first trades on there. So check that out, okay? First off, I just had to have this up here. I saw this and I thought that was funny. 2021 calculating how much taxes I'm going to owe for capital gains, and then calculating how many years I'll be able to write off capital losses. Oh, man. Yeah. If you guys don't know, basically, this is the worst start to the NASDAQ year in history. I've never seen a year worse through the first 5 months of the year. It's been extraordinary, okay? So, first off, this is an absolutely insane week for, like I said, not just me, but everybody that's in the retail crowd, okay? Palantir, this is a huge stock in the retail crowd, and I'm telling you, it's a huge stock. PLTR, they are reporting their earnings Monday before the bell, okay? So we're going to get started with a bang. When it comes to Palantir, this is a stock that's down. It's almost been cut in half so far this year. The stock is down 48.8% year to date, okay? That's a disaster. But with that being said, Palantir, here's what I'll say about the company, okay? The company has, in my opinion, a great future in front of themselves. The issue with Palantir in the short term is a lot of people are very caught up into growth rates of specifically kind of the corporate customers, okay? And here's what we do know about kind of corporate clients. We know a lot of them definitely have interest in Palantir, but Palantir can sometimes be a longer sales cycle. So the quarterly numbers for Palantir can sometimes look all over the place. One moment it can look way better because they close some massive deals, and when we're talking about Palantir, some of these deals are huge, like massive deals. And then other times, if it's a slow sales cycle for that particular period and they didn't get a lot of closes, everybody thinks it's the end of the world for a stock like Palantir. So when I look at this one, it's actually a stock I'm very interested in. I should already be buying it, to be honest. It's just the problem is there's like 800 other stocks that have gone down this market. If it wasn't for that fact, I would already have probably a big position built into Palantir going into these earnings. Instead, I have nothing, and the reason being is it's just there's a million stocks going down right now, and it's just hard to build positions. But I can tell you, if for any reason this baby goes down, the probability I make a position here is pretty darn high. They got an extraordinary opportunity. It's one of those companies that in this sort of industry, I mean, these companies command some insane valuations. Like, they're in the creme de la creme. When you talk about artificial intelligence in data and using that for companies to make better decisions, things like that, I mean, that's the creme de la creme. And the premium you can get on a business model like that, because recurring and sticky business model, oh my gosh, okay? So yeah, they're reporting Monday before the bell. Monday after the bell, the chef is reporting. Okay? Tattooed Chef. So just like Palantir, look at this one. It's twin, okay? Look at this. It's also down 48. This one's down a little worse, okay? 48.9%. Remember, Palantir was down 48.8%. Incredible. They're almost identical down moves. So when it comes to Chef, I mean, I don't need to talk to you guys about all the great things they have in their future and all the great things they're putting up. Now, in regards to this earnings period, very important earnings. And one of the reasons I'm pretty optimistic going into this earnings, specifically with the chef, is one, the stock's been devastating, okay? But the second thing is, the second reason I'm pretty optimistic going into these earnings is when I look at the chef, I see a company here that as far as this year, 2022, their lowest expectations are this quarter we're in that they're about to report on Monday after the bell. I like a company that's going into an earnings period with low expectations. The reason I like that a lot is because when you come into an earnings season, you got big expectations, huge numbers for growth, right? You have to come in with such an insane number to just make people want to buy the stock essentially. When it comes to Tattooed Chef, TTCF, going into this earnings period, the growth rate's a low number expected. If they have anything positive to say about guidance and the rest of the year, I think this baby's ready to fly. So that's why I'm pretty darn optimistic going into these earnings. Now, regardless if the chef goes up or down in these earnings, I will continue to be a buyer of the chef this entire year. So I want to make that very clear. Like, if the stock goes up, it's still a deal. It's still a deal, in my opinion, for a long-term investor like myself. If it goes down, great, I'll buy more shares. If I had to place odds in it, I think there's a higher probability the stock will be up on Tuesday and this week, and we'll have a good week overall. We'll see how it all shakes out. But I love when my companies go into those earnings with low expectations. And believe me, the chef has very, very low expectations going into this earnings period, especially when that stock's been devastated, okay? So this is basically just looking at Monday. Like I said, Palantir's reporting, you got Tyson reporting, you got Lordstown Motors, which is, it's not as nearly as popular in the retail crowd as it once was because it fell so much. You have AMC obviously reporting after the bell. That's obviously a big one. You have PP reporting after the close on Monday, Plug Power. You have Clover reporting, which is pretty decently popular in the retail crowd as well. Obviously, like I said, the chef. And then you have Lemonade, which Lemonade's an insurance company that's just been absolutely devastated as well. So, yeah, this is why I say this week is massive for retail crowd, because these are, there's a lot of companies reporting, a lot of things going on that are going to move retail stocks, with the biggest thing being on Wednesday, okay? So, after the bell on Tuesday, a company named Rocket reports, RKT. Now, the reason I have this one up here, and I wanted to mention this, is, first off, it's not like super popular in the retail crowd. There are some folks that own Rocket, but the main reason I think Rocket numbers is something everybody should look at is, what do they have to say about guidance? Okay, this is a company that a lot of their business comes from mortgage refinancing, as well as people taking out mortgages, right, and buying a home. And this is one of those companies that, is likely going to be in a tough place over the next 1 to 2 years if real estate really slows down massively, which I think real estate is going to start slowing in a massive way this summer. I think it's honestly already kind of starting. I think it's going to become probably undeniable at some point this summer that, oh boy, real estate, is slowing massively. I don't want to predict a crash in real estate because that's a whole other thing, but a massive slowdown, I think, is definitely coming. That's not good for Rocket. No one's refinancing anymore. Like, the rates have gone up too much. Now, if you're refinancing, you would be refinancing at a worse rate almost for everybody now. Everybody already refinanced for like a 2-year period. They refinanced in the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And now we're in the 5s, going to maybe the 6s. No one's going to be refinancing. The business is dead. Absolutely dead until eventually down the road whenever they lower rates again, which who knows when that is. It's dead. And so, if you tack on top of that, like, the demand just not being there for homes because it got so unaffordable, and simultaneously the rates have gone up, obviously it's an ugly thing for Rocket, but Rocket's a good company to just kind of look at for how real estate's doing. Zillow reported last week, no bueno, okay, no bueno. I think companies like Zillow and Rocket are important to look at if you want to get a gauge on, essentially how companies are doing. The other place you can always look, obviously, is companies like Toll Brothers, companies like Pulte Homes, KB Homes, the home builders. Those are always good ones to look at as well, all right? Now, as far as Tuesday, Peloton, not nearly as big of a retail stock as it once was. Workhorse, not nearly as big of a retail stock as it once was. You have Kronos reporting. SoFi, definitely a pretty big retail stock, I would say. SoFi, very low expectations for SoFi. And that stock, I think, is down to $5 or $6 now. This company, Roblox, not my cup of tea. You have TTD, Trade Desk reporting. That stock's, for how bad the market's been, it's actually done decent, at least in my opinion, compared to the rest of the market. And how much other stocks have gotten hit. But we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I'm not feeling too confident about TTD going in these earnings. Coinbase is reporting, right, which crypto not in the best place. Let's just put it that way. Wynn Resorts is reporting. Vegas is doing great, but the Macau, it's still limited in a massive way. And until that, fully reopens for real, Wynn's just in this kind of like not a great place. Matterport's not nearly as popular of a retail stock as it once was. That one's had a lot of trouble there. Okay. Wednesday after the bell, Dutch Bros reports, which is a decently popular retail stock. And when it comes to Dutch Bros, I've been a customer of Dutch Bros for many years and always loved the brand and the company. But when it comes to Dutch Bros, I haven't been able to buy this stock mainly just for valuation concerns and reasons. And in a market where everything's getting absolutely decimated, and in a market where there's great deals all over the place, like I don't have time to buy a stock that I feel like is not at a great valuation standpoint. And that's how I feel about Dutch Bros. I think it's a risk going into these earnings. I think it's a risk in 22, but I love the company. I will say that. Great company. They do a great job, but I think it's a risk. I think it's a major risk because, you got to understand with these newer companies, public market, man, you come in with something that's not great and you're devastated, right? And the buyers are just looking at so many other stocks that makes it tough, okay? So Dutch Bros. Beyond Meat is reporting after the bell on Wednesday. Now, when it comes to BYND, McDonald's. That's all that matters. McDonald's. I can guarantee you there's going to be a ton of questions on the conference call about McDonald's. The stock has gone down 44% year to date. And it is a stock I have a smaller position in, but I do have a position in it. And if this one goes down in any major way, I would love to build the position bigger. But when it comes to BYND, the grocery store business, good. Okay, that's a good business for them. Awesome. But I can tell you what everybody's concerned with or wants to know about is McDonald's, because basically they had a partnership with McDonald's and they are in a few states now, and there's talk that could go into a nationwide essentially launch. Okay, there's nothing bigger than McDonald's, and so Beyond Meat, and from my understanding, Beyond Meat's done phenomenal in McDonald's in Europe, okay? And so if we're talking about a nationwide launch of Beyond Meat with McDonald's, that's so big for Beyond Meat's numbers, and not just that, but for their branding, okay? When you're talking about the biggest fast food chain in the world, having your product and maybe giving you marketing all in the stores and whatnot, it doesn't get bigger than that. It would also be a huge movement for the whole plant-based food movement if you have the biggest fast food chain in the world launch a product like that, okay? And so for a company like Beyond Meat, I got to say, the McDonald's thing, Beyond Meat has a lot of other companies they work with, other fast food companies, restaurants, things like that. And obviously they have their grocery store business. But I can tell you, there's nothing bigger than McDonald's, and that's what everybody's going to want to know about on that conference call. McDonald's, okay? Now, Wednesday, you got Yeti reporting, decently popular retail stock, Fiverr as well. Krispy Kreme Donuts has had something interesting recently in regards to, it's like you get a dozen donuts and you have to pay like the gasoline price or something like that. So it's quite interesting. You have PaySafe reporting. Other than that, not too much going on. Like I said, Rivian, this one's important. Rivian's important because of actually Amazon. So anybody that's been buying Amazon stock, Rivian's important for that. It actually hurt Amazon's EPS in a massive way recently. We'll see what happens this quarter. Disney's reporting after the bell. I think that's one to watch big time. We talked about Dutch Bros. We talked about Beyond Meat, and Bumble, Sonos reporting also. But the biggest thing for Wednesday, by the way, much bigger than the earnings coming out, is basically the inflation numbers come out Wednesday, okay? Now, here's the deal. This is the most underrated thing in the entire stock market by a mile, okay? Basically, the rate of increase of inflation has been almost on a runaway for the past year plus, right? From 1.7% to 8.5%. But the thing was, over the summertime of this past year, we kind of had almost like a flatlining, which gave the market some comfort, and the market did well into that. Well, here's the issue, okay? In early November, the October numbers came out, right? Because they always have to lag a month. So in early November, the October numbers came out, and that showed a steep increase in the rate of increase of inflation, okay? Now, what started to happen in early November after those numbers came out? The whole market started to tank, right? The Russell was the first, then followed the NASDAQ, then followed the S&P, and lastly has followed the Dow, right? And all those would be far worse if it wasn't for oil and gas stocks trying to hold things together, and Apple stock and Microsoft trying to hold things together. It'd be so much worse if it wasn't for that, okay? But essentially, the market started to tank because it started to be like, oh my gosh, inflation is now 6+%, then it went to 7+%, and then 8+%, okay? And so what I think is going to have played out is in the month of April or in the month of May, the rate of increase of inflation is going to start going down. That's a big prediction I've been making, and I think I'll be right on that. We'll see, okay? And so here we are in the situation where if this number comes down and goes to like an 8.2, a 7.9, a 7.7, something like that, is going to be massive for the market. Even a flat line would be a win in this market, right? Because you got to understand, we went up over a 0.5 percentage point, from February to March. So, as long as we don't go to 9 something, like that's a win. Now, never mind if we start going down. I'm telling you, this would give the market a huge sigh of relief because the narrative changes. The narrative for the past year plus has been inflation just continues to get worse and 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 worse, right? The rate of increase is just, getting out of control. And it leads to a lot of fears. Some are justified and some are irrational, but it leads to fears. And so if we can finally get that trend to break, I am telling you, there's nothing bigger in the market than that. Because when you start to have that narrative change, the next narrative starts to change is, well, if it goes down again the following month, and the following month, then the Fed can stop being so aggressive with their commentary and their movements in regards to raising rates, right? And that would be a phenomenal thing for the markets because the market's not going to feel extremely comfortable until it's confident that inflation's getting back under 3%. If we start trending that way, that's when the market starts to have that sigh of relief, like, okay, we're trending down toward 3%. It's going to take a while to get down to those numbers, I can tell you that. But as long as the trend is going that way, the narrative of the entire market starts to change. And this is crazy big. And so, like I said, this is the most underrated thing. This is way bigger. To me, this is way bigger than what Powell came out and did last week. Way bigger, okay? And trust me, in the inner circles of Wall Street, what Powell did last week, that was child's play. This is the much bigger game. This is the Super Bowl. Powell last week was a regular season. This is a Super Bowl this week, okay? And so, yeah, that's going to be massive for the market, guys. I can tell you, let's hope. I hope for the best. Thursday, I got a company report in Tapestry, TPR. Not too much other going on. Affirm, I think that's a fairly, I don't cover Affirm, very often. I own a company named PayPal I've been buying over the last few months that I like a lot better than an Affirm long term on a risk reward standpoint. But I think there's a decent amount of retail that owns Affirm. Figs is decently popular in the retail crowd. Nothing else really Thursday, okay? Now, Friday after the bell, HNST Honest reports. The stock's gotten devastated. It's down 55% year to date. It's the $300 million market cap, a price to sales ratio of 1 on this company. It's laughable. But Honest came public at a bad time, in my opinion. They came public in a situation where, retail was already leaving the market and they haven't been able to get Wall Street behind them yet. They came public, it was around May of last year. And so they're about to lap their 1 year. I'm extremely bullish on Honest for the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, extremely bullish. I am buying the stock heavily, and I'm not going to stop buying the stock. And regardless if this stock goes up or down on these earnings, I'm going to be a relentless buyer this entire year of Honest. I think the stock's going to $20 plus over the next 3 to 5 years. And so I'm buying these shares at $3. Like you gotta, yeah, like I feel like I'm stealing money in this situation. So I'm just going to continue to buy shares. I'll listen to their conference call and hear their numbers, and I'm happy to do that. So this week is massive, guys. It's massive for me, and I know it's massive for a lot of you guys, and it's massive for the entire market because of those numbers on Wednesday coming out. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed this. As always, make sure to check out first link in the description down there. FTX US, get up to $100 of free crypto when you trade through FTX, and use my referral code Holy Smokers. Much love as always, and have a great day.